Good morning, friends. Today we are going to do the last topic of chapter number 1, real numbers. Yes, we have done the theorems of showing that root 2, root 3, root 5 are irrational numbers. So we started the lesson understanding real numbers. Real numbers are the rational numbers and the irrational numbers together. Yes, and initially we learned that any real number can be expressed in the form of Euclid's division lemma. The division lemma is A is equal to BQ plus R, where 0 is greater or equal to R is greater or equal to 0 but less than B. And we made of Euclid's division lemma in the algorithm. Yes, Euclid's division algorithm is to find the HCF of two numbers. Then we found out the formula how to find the LCM. The HCF into the LCM is the product of the two numbers. Later we moved on to proving that root 2, root 3, root 5 such numbers are irrational numbers, and to find out using that whether numbers are rational or irrational. Now since we have come here, we are going to revisit what we did in standard 9th. In standard 9th we learned that a rational number will be a terminating decimal or a non-terminating recurring decimal. Remember, a rational number is a terminating decimal, means it ends somewhere, and if it is not terminating, not ending, then it is recurring, means the number pattern is repeating. And the irrational number is a non-terminating, non-recurring decimal. So today we are going to do a few theorems based on that regard. But before we reach there, let us observe the following. So we have got here the first thing 1 upon 2. So when you divide, I have done the actual division for you. 1 upon 2. How do you divide 1 upon 2? Divide 1 upon 2, so you get the answer 0.5. When you divide 1 by 3, yes, this is the actual division. You can go through the actual division and you will see when you divide 1 by 3, you get the answer 0.3333, and here you can see the remainder is 1. So again you can put the 0 and again 3 3 is a 9, and it continues on and on and on. This is not terminating. This is not terminating, right? But it is recurring. This 333 is being repeated, so there is a pattern. So it is not here, it is terminated. This is terminating. 1 upon 2 is terminating. 1 upon 3 is not terminating but recurring. The number keeps on repeating. Again, 1 upon 4 is terminating. Yes, it ends. The remainder is 0. 1 upon 5 is also terminating. Remainder is 0, and 1 upon 6 is not terminating but it is recurring because the pattern keeps on repeating. So I have done the actual division up to 1 upon 6, and you can see where does it terminate. When the remainder becomes 0, the division terminates. If the remainder is not 0, the division does not terminate. So from 1 upon 6 we continue 1 upon 7, 1 upon 8, 1 upon 9, 1 upon 10, 1 upon 11, and you can have the denominator as big number as you want. Now what I have shown here, the ones marked in red are the terminating decimals. And what do you observe? I have written the observation on the side. In this case, the denominator is 2. That is a power of 2, 2 raised to 1. This is non-terminating. Denominator is 3. Now here it is terminating, the denominator is 4. But 4 is written as what? 4 is written as 2 square. So again it is a power of 2. 1 upon 5 is terminating, and the denominator is written as 5 to the power 1. And 1 upon 8 terminates. So what is the denominator 8? Written as 2 to the power 3. So what are you following here? 2 with any power in the denominator gives a terminating decimal. Yes, even 5. Can you see this? Even 5. And here we have got 10, which is a combination of 2 and 5. So you are observing a pattern here. Any number in the denominator, if it is expressed in the power of 2 or in the power of 5 or in the combination of the power of 2 and the power of 5, then it leads to a terminating decimal. And if the denominator may or may not have this power of 2 and 5, or if it has got something other than the power of 5, then it leads to a non-terminating decimal. Just now what do we observe? That any number whose denominator can be expressed in the power of 2. Yes, expressed in the power of 2. We have got this and this. Expressed in the power of 2. Or expressed in the power of 5. Like this. Or expressed in the power of 2 and 5. Like this. Then it leads to a terminating decimal. And the other numbers you can see 3 and 6 and 7 and 9 and 11. Now 6 is what? 6 is this 6 can be written as 2 raised to 1 into 3. So there is a power of 2 here, 2 raised to 1. But along with that there is also a 3 here. So the 3 makes it non-terminating. Yes, then you got 1 upon 7, 1 upon 9, 1 upon 11. So what again we have to be sure? That the denominator should be only expressed in the power of 2, only power of 2, or only power of 5, or a combination of only 2 and 5. Only 2 and 5. 6, I told you again, is a combination of 2 and 3. So 3 is not being allowed, it is only in the powers of 2 and 5, gives us a terminating decimal. So since we are done here, we will move to the theorem. The book has given the theorem and you already understood the theorem. So now only the explanation. Let x be a rational number whose decimal expansion terminates. So x is a rational number whose decimal expansion terminates. So it is a rational number. So it is in which form? P by Q form. That we already know. P by Q form, rational number. Where P and Q are co-prime, means there is nothing common between them. But because it terminates, so when you do the prime factorization of Q, it will always come in the power of some combination of 2 and 5. So here you have to go the reverse. For example, you see 0.875. Yes. So what is this? It says this is a terminating decimal. So terminating decimal is a rational number in the form P by Q, where if you do the prime factorization of Q, if you break up Q into its factors, then you will always get Q in the powers of 2 and 5 only, not any other number. It will be a combination of the powers of 2 and 5 only. So this is a terminating decimal 0.875. Now 0.875 is written as 875 upon 1000. When you will do the cutting, here you express it 7 into 5 cube, 2 into 5 cube. So this 5 cube and the 5 cube gets cut. Yes. So what remains? 7 upon 2 to the power 3. So what do you observe here? The Q is in which power? In the power of 2. Yes. Because it is expressed, the number is actually 7 upon 8. So 7 upon 8 here, Q8 can be expressed as a power of 2. So this decimal will be a terminating decimal. Similarly, I have got Q as 80 here. How is 80 written? 16 5s are 80. Now 16 is 2 raised to 4. 16 into 5, 5 raised to 1. Now since the denominator is expressed only in the powers of 2 and 5, it will make a terminating decimal. Now what have we done here? To make the sum easier, you can do the actual division. You can do the actual division of this one and get the same answer. But what we did, we want to make the base a power of 10. We want to make the base a power of 10. it is given 2 cube here, then we multiply by 5 cube, because 2 5s are 10. So because 2 cube is given, we multiplied with 5 cube, right, to complete the powers of 10. But if we multiply by 5 the denominator, you have to also multiply the numerator by 5 cube. Are you following? Here I can actually do the division. This number 7 by 8, I can actually do the division like I did before. But I didn't do that. First I express the denominator 8 as a power of 2, so it is 2 cube. Now I want to make it as a power of 10. So 2 cube into 5 cube will give me 10 cube. 2 cube we have done in the 9th standard. You remember a raised to m into b raised to m is ab raised to n. Using that identity, I want to make it as a power of 10. So now 2 cube into 5 cube is 10 cube. But if I multiply the denominator with 5 cube, I have to also multiply the numerator with 5 cube. So the value remains unchanged. So 5 cube into 7 is 875. So 875 on 1000 is 0.875. Same way here, we had 80. Now 80 is written as 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 1. So we have got 2 raised to 4 and 5 raised to 1. 1 we already have. To make it decimal, I have to make it 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 4. Yes, to make it 10 raised to 4. But 5 raised to 1 was already there. Means I multiplied with 5 raised to 3. So since I multiplied the denominator with 5 raised to 3, I multiplied the numerator also with 5 raised to 3. So now I have got 875 upon 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 4. That is 10 raised to 4 or 10,000, and I get the answer 0.0875. So what we need to do here, what we did here was, given any rational number in the form p by q, we expressed p in the prime factorization, and if the p could be expressed only in the powers of 2 and 5, only in the powers of 2 and 5, we come to know it is a terminating decimal. And then this is the method to show very easily find the decimal form. So this is theorem 1.5. So if what does it say? If x is a rational number which has got a decimal expansion that terminates the decimal expansion. So x is a rational number whose decimal expansion terminates. Yes, then the q, which is the p by q from the q, will always be in some power of 2, some power of 5, or some power of combination of 2 and 5 only. So that is the theorem. Theorem 1.6 is the converse of theorem 1.5. The converse. What was theorem 1.5 again? X is a rational number p by q whose decimal expansion terminates, then q will be in the form of powers of 2 and 5 only. Here it is the reverse. X equal to p by q is a rational number. If q is in the form of 2 and 5 only, then the decimal expansion terminates. Can you understand the words? There it was decimal expansion terminate, then q will be in the power of 2 and 5. Here it is q is in the power of 2 and 5, so decimal expansion terminates. You can see here we written 13 upon 50. So it is in the power of 2 and 5. The denominator is in the power of 2 and 5. Because it is in the power of 2 and 5, it terminates. Then we got 7 upon 32. 32 is 2 raised to 5. Because it is in the power of 2 raised to 5, it terminates. So theorem 1.5 and theorem 1.6 are actually the converse of each other. Yes? And I hope it is very simple to understand. And theorem 1.7, what does that state? It states if x is a rational number, p and q are co-primes, and q is not the prime factorization in the form 2 and 5, combination of 2 and 5, then such a decimal expansion will be non-terminating but recurring. Yes, it's a rational number. So non-terminating but recurring. So I have done one for you, 25 upon 3. This number is 25 upon 3. Now q is 3, not in the power of 2 or 5. So we get a decimal which is non-terminating but recurring. So this is the theorem and these are the only things done here, and this is the last topic of the chapter. So today we are ending the chapter here. It's a very small lecture today, but there were only 3 topics left and we have finished those topics. So here we end the chapter number 1. Now on this Wednesday we'll have a test of this chapter, whole chapter again. So revise it thoroughly and do all the sums, practice well. This Wednesday we will have a maths test of this chapter. Okay, and now I have left some homework. So this is the homework you are supposed to do. Read the question well, do them and send it to me. If you got any doubts, I have told you, if you got any doubts you can send me the doubts, but you are otherwise doing very well. I'm very happy with your marks. Your performance is really good. Okay, so this is a short lecture today because you have completed the whole topic. Tomorrow we'll start with a new chapter, but I have kept this video smaller because I want you to go through the previous videos also. You have got 2 days. Yes, so Tuesday and Wednesday. At Wednesday 4 o'clock usually we have the test. So you've got 2 days to repeat all the videos, repeat all the sums, prepare thoroughly. Okay. So all the best for the test. We have ended this chapter here today. I will give you more practice sums later in some PDF I'll send you. Okay. So this is the homework you have to go to do today, and we end the chapter. Thank you.